Communications, letters, and notices. In this file folder, it's a chronological order of how we communicated honorably through the various stages as this process moved forward. I did include one file folder dated May 29th. That was an affidavit. This is before I was involved in all of this, but this was paperwork that Brent had created at that time, and that affidavit went out to the 12 people that he mentions in his testament that him and Kathy gave that nobody responded to. So it's important that you read these in the correct order and understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. The words are paramount as we're moving this through the process. You're going to see the first step was writing a letter to the top two people that are in charge of all these officers and agents that are committing all this wrong and harm trespassing, and that's Doug and Rod. Okay, Doug Downey is the man who's acting as the Attorney General. That's the legal department for the Service Corporation Ontario. Then you've got Rod Phillips. He's the man who's acting as the minister of this department again for the Service Corporation of Ontario. So these two gentlemen, they are both, and that's using a term that really doesn't suit them for what they're doing, but these two people are ultimately they're responsible for all those agents and officers that are under their control, ensuring that they're not trespassing against the very people that they serve. Okay, it's that simple. So when you read these documents, they're very straightforward. You're going to see who was copied, who was written to when. You're going to see that Thomas, the head man who oversees the OPP, another service corporation, completely ignored every single transmission. And then he has some flunky, McGee, send off a letter who can't decipher between physical wrong and harm that's occurring claims and concerns, as was referenced in the video that Kathy and Brent both gave to their testament. It's absolutely thoroughly disgusting. And for the record, this man, Thomas, today's date is November the 12th. He has not responded once to any of this. Okay, and this is what's all being brought out into the light. We're going to expose all these service corporations for what they're doing, and we're going to correct the record because they need a hard reset, if not liquidated into oblivion. They have no business doing what they're doing on the land, all of them. And they need to understand how their corporations have been set up. I'm not attacking, first and foremost, let's be clear, the men and women that work in these honorable, supposedly, capacities. The majority of these people, with all their heart, are trying to do good in this world. But this corporation and how it's been set up are completely corrupt from top to bottom. Doesn't matter if it's the OPP, the RCMP, or your local municipal police force. Every single one of these service corporations is corrupt from top to bottom in how it has been designed to operate on this land and interact with the people. So you're hopefully learning by now that as soon as something is incorporated, it gets dragged out to the sea. That's the jurisdiction that it falls under. So all these service corporations, their jurisdiction is out on the water. They have no jurisdiction on the land. And this is the truth. So read these documents, download them, share them, go over them. If there's any man or woman out there that's wearing these black robes in these courthouses, our public courthouses, by all means, you bring forward your findings and facts, conclusions of law. If what we've put to paper is not true. And it boils down to two sentences. Whoever claims that it's not true, then you come forward and you're going to have to claim that that man, Brent Mannery, or I, or any other man or woman, the millions of us that live in this country, are number one, your property, or number two, you can administrate property without right. And if you can't get past those two questions, then I don't care what costume you wear in these public courthouses, you serve we the people. And you have no business trespassing on our paperwork when we're moving claim in court against people that have been verified, not concerns, verified that wrong and a harm, horrific wrong and harm has occurred. And these top people, Doug and Rod and now Thomas, are all completely not doing their jobs. And they're doing it intentionally, knowingly, and willfully, to the expense and great harm to Kathy and Brent and their family, and more importantly, to our public courthouses. They are usurping the very rights that we have to access them. And that's why the paperwork that you're reading here, you'll see in every single capacity, when they are, pardon my language, shitting all over us, we are still writing to them honorably, requiring of them to step up and do your jobs. And none of them are, because they're guilty of what they're doing.